Okay, great. Where are we going? IP development. There's a pipeline being built out here. We've talked about it in the past. We have a strong set of patents now, provisional filings, continuing to build it out. And there's a bit of a pipeline here we'd like to speak to. Leading the charge is our solid tumor therapy for THT on melanoma. And as you see here, we're through our preclinical studies and just on the cusp here of this early feasibility study. The next stage after that would be a pilot study. The next stage after that would be the pivotal study. This pilot study, we already have the protocol written for it. We're already in discussions with regulators and ethics boards for it. And the goal is that as soon as we are through our early feasibility study, we're ready to go into the pilot study. That will be with melanoma, but we'll be following quickly in suit with colorectal and breast cancer. That's the intention. We also see strong possibilities in glioblastoma, bladder cancer, and cervical cancer. Now, it's not just THT on its own as this tumor therapy. We have a number of other concepts, let's call them here, a THT triconjugate and a theragnostic concept that we can't talk a lot about right now because patents haven't been filed yet on that. We're working on it still. But suffice to say, we're really excited about these possibilities too. These are all facilitated by the fact that Sona has uniquely biocompatible gold nanorods. Carmen, do you want to speak to some of these?
Yeah, so I mean, this is really the kind of when you look at it as a platform, what are the other ways you can use this? And so these conjugates that we have filed some IP on for sure. This is, when we're talking about liberating antigen, liberating protein from the tumor through moderate heat, priming the tumor microenvironment to be even more responsive is the goal. And so this is what the conjugates are. It's delivering all of the components. There's in many treatments, in many chemotherapy regimes, nobody gets one kind of chemotherapy. You get a cocktail of chemotherapies because you're looking at the challenge from different perspectives. And so this is what the conjugate research is about, is how many perspectives can we attack at one time in the context of our targeted hyperthermia. That's critical, doing it in the context of the delivery of the hyperthermia. And the rest of it, I think at this point, it's really still on the drawing board. And so we'll wait to describe some more.
All right. And this is a good opportunity to field. There's a question here about the regulatory pathway that we'll be pursuing, because of course we're at the cusp, as I say, of our early feasibility study. To get to pilot study, this would be a North American study in Canada, frankly, that we'd be starting with, and for which we'll need Health Canada approval for that. Right. I would anticipate that a pivotal study with hundreds of patients would ideally be done in the US, frankly. So FDA, who we've been in conversations with as well, needs to be on side. Now, using FDA speak, question is specifically, would it be a PMA or de novo path? To answer that question, and there are a number of pathways that the regulators provide, but to answer that, we really need to see the results of the early feasibility study and the results of our toxicology studies. Those two will help to inform whether we can, as we're planning to do, apply for breakthrough status. Breakthrough device status would be the optimal path for us, and that is what we're pushing for, and that's what we think is feasible. If not, the fallback from there is likely PMA. But what is going to matter is what the results are coming out of this study and how many patients we get a response. And there are several questions also asking about, when are we going to report back on these patients? Is it going to be patient by patient? No, we won't want to do that because it's too anecdotal, one patient at a time. But I also don't think we'll be waiting until we have 10 patients. So we'll once we have a first cohort, let's say, of patients done, and we'll see how many are queued up in the first month that we can get through, we'd probably come back and report that back to folks. These studies, many of these studies, the most successful of these studies get shut down, in fact, if you have very effective early results, because it's so clear. We'll see if we're that fortunate. We're certainly optimistic. We've got all the preclinical data supports that it will do, but we shall see.